like the sun. I wanna feel it right inside me. Oh yeah.
I wanna walk into the beat of the drum. I want my loved ones all around me.
Oh yeah.
We together as one, we're all the same. Oh yeah, yeah, together as one, let's celebrate and let the world know.
We're gonna stay up, turn the night into day. We're gonna give the world a party.
Oh yeah. No matter where you're from, you're welcome to stay. We got enough for everybody. Oh yeah.
We together as one, we're all the same. Oh yeah, yeah, together as one, let's celebrate and let the world know. Here we are, Mama Africa. We love Africa. Here we stand, Mama Africa. We love Africa.
Here we are, Mama Africa. We love Africa. Here we stand, Mama Africa. We love Africa. We're together as one. We're all the same.
We together as one, let's celebrate, yeah. Let the world know. From Africa to the world, to the world, yeah. Oh,
Mama Africa. We love
Africa, yeah. Africa,
We love
Africa.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pesi Kifilo Gabonche from Botswana. I am YALDA's multimedia writer, and I'll be the coordinator for today. We are very thrilled to be having you joining us for this short course today. Now, before we proceed, I'd like to take you through some housekeeping rules. Next slide, please. Yes, please make sure that you remain on mute and keep your camera off throughout the session. If you have questions, please type them in the chat box. Put your name, your country, and then your question. And later on, when you are asked to speak, do the same procedure. Start by introducing yourself by your name and country only, and then proceed to repeat your question or comment that you had typed in the chat box. We are very delighted to host this short course today with our partners, of course. We have the AfCFTA Secretariat who hosted the first module. Today will be hosted by UNECA, and then the UNDP will host the third module. The AfriCenBank will host the fourth one, and finally the ITC will host the fifth module. Next slide. Yes, the objective of this short course is to create and inspire a dynamic community of budding entrepreneurs who are eager to delve into the cross-border trade in Africa and equip themselves with the necessary insights to navigate and thrive in the framework.
You invoke the
Okay, so the
online version. The one you attended, was it physical?
Okay, next slide, please. And please remember to be on mute throughout the whole session and keep your camera off so that the focus is on the person who is presenting. Thank you. Now, at the end of this course, we like the participant to understand the African Continental Free Trade Area and its instruments. And we also like them to leverage the opportunities that are presented by the AfCFTA. Next slide, please. As I've already said earlier, this short course is hosted by YALDA and its partners. We have module 1, which is on the 29th of May, which is hosted by the AfCFTA Secretariat on the topic Understanding How to Trade under the AfCFTA Agreement and Protocol on Women and Youth in Trade. Module 2, which is today, is hosted by the UNECA under the topic Fast Tracking the AfCFTA Implementation Taking Youth into Consideration. Module 3 will be on the 24th of July by the UNDP under the topic The African Service Market Created by the AfCFTA. Module 4 on the 21st of August will be hosted by the AfriCenBank on the topic Accessing Financing for Cross-Border Trade under the AfCFTA. And lastly, Module 5 on September the 18th by ATPC on the topic Market Access Conditions. Next slide, please. Yeah, the Module 1's objective was to inspire and empower young leaders and entrepreneurs to take full advantage and opportunities that are offered by the AfCFTA. We do have the recording of the session. In case it's your first time here, please visit our YouTube channel to access the recording. The next module, which is module 2 by UNECA today, will be on fast tracking the AfCFTA implementation, taking youth into consideration. As I've already said, the Economic Commission for Africa through its African Trade Policy Center is collaborating with YALDA to support youth participation in the AfCFTA implementation, and UNECA will be delving deeper into this topic today. Module 3 as learning outcomes will center on understanding how to trade the services in the AfCFTA, exploring the potential benefits and challenges, and strategizing how youth-led enterprises can thrive in a liberalized service market. It will be conducted by the UNDP, as I've already said. The fourth module on August the 21st will be conducted by the AfriStem Bank, and the AfriStem Bank Export SME Development Program is designed to provide a range of comprehensive financial and non-financial services to the export-oriented SMEs in furtherance of the bank's inter-Africa trade. So do attend this module also by AfriStem Bank to learn more. And lastly, the 5th module by ITC on September the 18th will be to, excuse me, please keep your mic muted. Yeah, the last module, module 5, will be an market access conditions, and it will be conducted by the ITC. Next slide, please. The version of this course will be held online. It will be entirely online in 5 modules once a month. We've already had the first module. The second module is today. And then the last 3 modules will be held on Wednesday once a month as well. And at the end of this course, the participant will be given certificates. And for one to be eligible for this certificate, they must have attended at least 4 of the 5 modules and submitted their quizzes and assignment, which are given at the end of each module. Next slide, please. In addition to that, there will be an interactive Q&A session at the end of each module. Next slide, please. And the evaluation will include a quiz that comprises of 10 multiple choice questions and an 800-word essay, which should be uploaded at the end of the session. And during the session, the host and presenters will run polls to anonymously gauge the understanding of the course by the participant. At the end, participants will also be presented with a survey of each module to understand how they engaged with the module and the coursework facilitators. Next slide, please. Please do follow us on social media. We do have the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, and LinkedIn pages. We ask you to keep our social media alive by engaging with our content. And now I would love to introduce our speakers for today. Please switch on your camera as I call your name. We have Makaula, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, who is an economist and research fellow from UNECA. We also have Nahum, who is a trade expert from UNECA. And lastly, we have Mahlet, who is a trade expert from UNECA as well. Yeah, thank you so much. Welcome, and we are happy to be having you here today. Now I'd like to invite the first speaker, who is Makaula.
Okay.
Welcome, and please.
Thank you, Percy, for the introduction, and good evening, everybody. Very glad to be part of this second presentation of the workshop. And as you mentioned, Ellie, we will be running the module 2 on fast-tracking AfCFTA implementation, taking into consideration youth. So we'll be having 3 presentations. I will start by the first one, and then my colleagues will come for the last 2 presentations. So let me share my screen. And the sake of the network, maybe I will turn my camera. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, and welcome again, everybody. So the topic I'm going to present is on fast-tracking AfCFTA implementation, taking youth into consideration. So the presentation outline is as follows. I will start by quickly introducing the AfCFTA agreement. And I know the first model have touched a lot on this, but I will just be brief in introducing the AfCFTA so that everyone will be at the same stage. And then the second section will be on the empirical evidence from the Economic Commission for Africa, basically on the economic impact of the agreement, as well as on the impact on regional value chain. So in terms of the introduction, I think it's very important to note these 3 important dates when it comes to the AfCFTA. I will start with the 2012, when the agreement was first conceived during the ordinary session of the Assembly of the Head of State and Government of the African Union. And then we have also 2015, I can say June 2015, when negotiations were launched. And of course, we have 2018, where the agreement was signed in Kigali. So those are the important dates when it comes to the AfCFTA agreement. And what is really the agreement is about is a free trade area with the objective to create a single market for goods and services, to liberalize tariffs in both goods and services market. And at the end of the day, the main objective is to boost intra-African trade. So the negotiation, as I said, started in June 2015 and conducted in 2 phases. So we have the phase 1 comprised with 3 protocols: trade in goods, trade in services, and also the dispute settlement body. I don't want to go in detail because I know the AfCFTA secretary have covered this element. And the phase 2 also comprised with 4 protocols: the investment one, the intellectual property right, the competition policy, and digital trade, and also women and youth in trade. These 2 protocols have just been adopted in February 2024. And the agreement itself entered into force on 30th of May 2019, even though it was signed in 2018. So because of the global shock that the world faced between 2019 and 2015, I can say, because of COVID-19. So the AfCFTA agreement officially started on 1st January, but also due to some technical aspect, the first trade recorded only after the launch of the AfCFTA Guided Trade Initiative in October 2022. And my colleague will come back in more detail on this tool. So here you can see the status of the AfCFTA agreement ratification, because once countries have signed the agreement in Kigali, the next step was to ratify them in terms of domesticating the agreement in their national law. So we have, as of May 2024, 47 countries that have ratified the agreement. 7 have not yet ratified, and 1 country did not sign the agreement, as we know. So just want to give this quick introduction on the AfCFTA. And here also I'm presenting one of the key instruments of the implementation of the AfCFTA, as we are talking about implementation. And the key instrument here is the rule of origin under the AfCFTA. As we know, we have like 5 instruments for the implementation of the agreement, and the Secretariat have presented them, but I decided to just mention one of them, which is very critical for young entrepreneurs, for SMEs, and this is a criteria which confer to a specific product an economic nationality. And it's showcase the minimum level of processing of a product on the continent, so that it can benefit from the advantages provided by the agreement. So as we said, the agreement is about liberalizing tariffs and non-tariff across the continent. And to be able to get benefit under this preferential agreement, there is a need to really understand and know that the product is from an African country. This is why the rule of origin is very important. And for that, under the AfCFTA, there are 2 criteria or 2 main rules when it comes to originality. So the first one is the product should wholly obtain, in AfCFTA member state. Like as an example here, we give the live animals born and raised in a state party. So if we take like live animal born from Chad and raised, in Chad, so this a product that is wholly obtained in a AfCFTA country. So the export of this specific product will benefit, will get benefit in terms of advantages when it comes to AfCFTA, because at the end of the day, they will not apply, tariffs for this specific product. So this is very important for young entrepreneurs and SMEs to know, so that you know your specific product, what will be the criteria for you in order to get benefit under the AfCFTA. And the second criteria is that in case the product is not wholly obtained, what will happen? So this one is the product should undergo a substantial transformation in a state party. Yes, instead of being wholly obtained, at least if the product undergone a substantial transformation in a state party, then yes, it can also get benefit, advantages when it comes to AfCFTA. And the example here is like the cocoa beans to chocolate, for example. So there is a value addition into the cocoa bean. So yes, there is a substantial transformation. So I thought this is also very important to mention for SMEs. So now, what are the economic impact of the AfCFTA? This is basically about the work we have been doing at the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa in order to inform policymaker and all the actors in the area to know that the implementation of the AfCFTA will benefit the African economies. So here we start by asking ourselves, what is why AfCFTA is important for Africa, and we try to show here the level of the African economy in terms of diversification. So the first chart we can see, for example, the diversification of different regions in the world. And what is the diversification itself is that it is the export of the variety of product. So if an economy is able to, export some variety of product, that economy is called a diverse economy. So here we can see the position of Africa compared to other region, and the index is from 0 from low diversification economy to 1, and Africa is really behind, I can say, compared to other regions, which show that African economies are not are less diversified. If we break it down, we can also see by sub-region in Africa that all the sub-region, I can say the 5 sub-region in Africa are below 0.5, showing the less diversification of our economy. So this is why AfCFTA is important for us. If we are able to diversify our economy, we can get benefit with the more than 1.2 billion of the market that exists. So we also ask our question then, why is Africa less diversified, and what do we really export in Africa? And we can see here also that our export is mainly about fuels and raw material. Almost 40% of African exports made by fuel. So this shows why we are not diversified. So the issue here become more prevalent when we look at also at the country level, because we can see here, for example, that we have the primary commodities as a percentage of total export, and we define this as when a country commodities export comprise over a 60% share of a country's total export. So a country with over 60% is considered as a primary commodity dependent. When the share is over 80%, then it's highly dependent on primary commodity. And from the chart, we can see almost 45 African countries were commodity dependent in 2021, with 36 being highly dependent. And even in the recent report of the UNCTAD, the stats remain basically the same. This show why it's very important for the continent to diversify our economy and to be able to take advantage of the large market that we created, I mean the AfCFTA. So all these elements is now to come with the AfCFTA as the promise, and study that we've done internal here at the Economic Commission of Africa show that the AfCFTA after full implementation will significantly, or will have significant positive impact on intra-African trade, on Africa's GDP, and also on poverty reduction. So here it is an econometric analysis with a scenario like without AfCFTA, the baseline 2020, and after the implementation of the AfCFTA in 2045. So we can see that the results show that in overall, intra-African trade will increase by 34.6%. So when we break it down also to look at the different sector, we can see agri-food sector will benefit more in terms of percentage, 53.6%, followed by services sector. So why is it also important for us to show all these statistics? It is because as SMEs, as entrepreneurs, I'm sure that some of you may find themselves in the activities within these different sectors. So you know where the potentialities are, and you know how to maybe to redirect your activity. So this is why we are showing this, and this is also very important when people are talking about the advantages of the AfCFTA. So we also break it down to see at the country level what are the benefits, and we can see also that the benefits differ from country to another because of the economic structure or the trade structure of each continent. When we look at this chart, we can see Egypt, for example, will benefit 61%, in terms of industry sector, while Ethiopia, for example, will be in agri-food. So this is also to show you in your specific country, in which sector, the advantages are. So now, what's the effects also of the AfCFTA on regional value chain? And then here we start by presenting first of all the global picture of participation into global value chain, which is also a concept that encompasses all the activities that required to bring a good to the final consumer from product design to the distribution. So it takes into account the design phase through production, distribution, marketing, and also sale of product to its destruction. So when we look at the chart in the right side of the screen, we can see the evolution of selected region participation in global value chain in percentage between 1990 and 2018. And also we can see the position of Africa in red, showing that we are very low when it comes to participation into global value chain. So here we also measure the evolution of Africa in terms of forward and backward participation, which are the two main measures of participation into global value chain. And we can see that compared to the forward participation, backward is more conducive for domestic firms to develop, essential production capabilities and acquire knowledge about foreign markets. So, but at the end of the day, we can see in the chart that Africa, in terms of backward participation, is very, very low, which is very critical when it comes to add value to product. So the study basically showed that Africa is at the lower stage, as I said, in the global value chain. This is largely explained by the modest backward participation in global value chain, and this undermines the development of the regional value chain. So what we found in our study is that addressing tariffs and non-tariff measures on intra-African import, particularly for the intermediate product, the AfCFTA has the potential to promote the development of regional value chain in various subsectors. So here we can see the different scenario that we've also done in order to assess the effect of trade, the effect of AfCFTA on regional value chain. So we have the two type of product, the final product and the intermediate product. And we have the rest of the world and also Africa. So the average tariff on goods imposed by Africa on its import in percentage is you can see 10% without AfCFTA. And after the implementation of the AfCFTA, this will decrease to almost 2%, which means that the AfCFTA will have an impact when it comes to reduce the tariffs for final product. And interestingly, when we look at the intermediate product, also before or in 2020, for example, the tariffs for these products are 5.6%, but after the implementation of the AfCFTA by 2045, you can see also the tariff will be almost 0.1%, which means that there is a strong possibility to increase the regional value chain, because intermediate products are very important when it comes to moving alongside the value chain. And then we also use now the non-tariff measure on goods imposed by Africa on its exports. And again, we can see the result that after the implementation of the AfCFTA by 2045, the non-tariff measure will be reduced from 51.4% to 42 for final product, and from almost 41% to 35% for intermediate product. And this is also the same when it comes to services sector. So at the end, the main message here is that by being able to implement the AfCFTA, Africa will definitely increase, or develop the regional value chain. So here also we've done the analysis using the different subsector, and this is again very important because we wanted to show you, as in your various activities, where the possibilities are when it comes to get advantage of AfCFTA. So to conclude, I will say the potential effect of AfCFTA on African economies are well known, well now established in the literature. However, to benefit from the large market that exists, it requires implementation or effective implementation through national and regional strategy prepared by countries, and also it requires involvement of all actors in the implementation process, including youth and human. So this is the end of my presentation, and my colleague will take it from here to deep dive on the youth consideration when it comes to AfCFTA implementation. So thank you. Back to you, Percy. Hope you can hear me.
Thank you very much. That was an insightful presentation. And we've learned that Africa is less diversified, so we need to really diversify the market, especially the agri-food sector, which have shown much potential. I believe the entrepreneurs in the room were listening and they have taken note. Now I'd like to give to the second speaker, which is Nahum, who will continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Percy, and hello everyone. Thank you, Mukaila, for setting the tone for our presentation. Let me try to share my screen. Great. Yeah. As Mokaila said earlier, with me in the next few minutes, we will be delving deep into what the safety means to the youth population in Africa. To start with, African youthful population make up approximately 60% of the total population. So when we talk about Africa, we are basically talking about the youth. This is a significant portion of the general population that we have to make use at the center of the policy making process in the discussions around the safety and other policy issues within the continent. The major legal underpinning for the youth related issues within the AU system, as you know, the African Union is that the major Pan-African institution which is working to bring African countries together politically and economically, and the AfCFTA is one of the major tools. And when you look at the AfCFTA and its objectives, it's very much aligned with the African Youth Charter, which was adopted in 2006 by the AU Assembly. It defines the age group when it defines youth that it falls between 15 and 35 years old. So that's why I'm attending this this course, because I'm still can be considered as youth within the AU Youth Charter. That means this age group constitutes 60% of the total population in the continent, and the young people must be at the center of all the policy-related discussions. The major outlines of the youth charter is that basically it defines youth, as I said earlier, and also it includes rights that young people should enjoy, including right to education and training, right to participate in decision-making process, right to freedom of expression in association, right to healthy environment. So it lists the rights that young people should be in a position to enjoy. We also have
Excuse me, can you please make your presentation full screen?
All right. Okay. So what about now? Can you see the full screen?
Yes, it's perfect now.
Okay, great. So we have the African Youth Charter, and then we also have the Continental Framework for Youth, Peace and Security, which was adopted in 2017. Someone may ask why we are talking about the Continental Framework for Youth and Peace, peace and security in the context of the AfCFTA. But as you know, the major issue in Africa is that ensuring peace and security, and in one or other ways having closer economic union, which is the main purpose of having the AfCFTA agreement, ultimately aims at bringing African countries together, and by that we can indirectly contribute for the resolution of so many of the disputes in the continent. So the AfCFTA is not just a trade agreement that has a huge economic benefit. It also has huge ramifications to Africa's effort to address its peace and security challenge. Now, as you understand from the previous presentations and from the previous module, hopefully that within the African international relations landscape, we don't just have the African Union, we also have the regional economic communities. We have AU recognized regional economic communities representing almost all regions of the continent, and REX established youth development strategies and policies. The main example is that the Southern Africa Development Corporation SADC Youth Employment Promotion Policy and the East African Community Youth Policy. So regional economic communities or RECs are considered as a building block for African economic integration. So whatever policy measure taken at the RECs level is a basic starting point. So when it comes to the AfCFTA, of course, it recognizes regional economic communities as the main contributors towards achievement of the AfCFTA's goal. But we should also remember that individual member states are critical considerations in the safety. This is pretty much technical considerations that you don't have to worry about, but we can say that regional economic communities are the building blocks for the future African economic community. So the next question is that what does the AfCFTA means to young people and how it can be considered as a game changer? The AfCFTA has a separate protocol on women and youth, as Mokaila mentioned in his presentation earlier. That makes the AfCFTA the first of its kind when it comes to trade agreements by dedicating specific protocol on women and youth. This is this is because in Africa we have a useful population, as I said earlier, 60% of the total population, and also whatever economic goal Africa is aiming to achieve has to take into account the needs of youth and women, of course. So having a separate protocol on women and youth was critical, and it's now adopted, and it forms an integral part of the AfCFTA framework. So that shows African leaders are thinking about youth and how they can benefit from the AfCFTA agreement. The protocol's main objective is basically to empower women and youth to actively participate in and benefit from the AfCFTA agreement, because, as I said, it's based on the need for special consideration of the needs of women and youth to benefit from the agreement. Because if these two groups of population do not benefit from the agreement, we can say that the agreement benefited Africa. If to say that AfCFTA is beneficial for Africa, women and youth have to be in a position to benefit from the agreement. The key focus area of the protocol mainly includes access to education, skill development, and training for women and youth, enhanced access to market opportunities, and supports the participation on regional value chains. This is probably the most important priority in Africa on how we can enhance the participation of Africa in the global value chain, as well as how can we build regional value chains within the continent. So when we think about these issues, you still be at the center of policy considerations, and by regional value chains, we are referring to not something very complex, but how the different inputs and ingredients to the final product can be sourced from different African countries. Like our iPhones and our MacBook Air computers, they are designed in California but manufactured in China, right? So yeah, this kind of interconnectedness need to be in place in Africa. How these value chains can be developed and so on is also another technical discussion, but all of you in one or other ways are participating in business, so you know about this subject matters. So what I'm trying to say here is that if we want to have a regional value chain in the continent, we need the participation of young people, and that's one of the purposes and objectives of the AfCFTA protocol on women and youth. Financial inclusion also important, access to finance and other related issues. These issues are covered under the protocol. It also establishes mentorship programs in Africa. Of course, so we need more intergenerational dialogue in different areas, but particularly on the conduct of business and trade. We need to create a mechanism how to help young entrepreneurs to learn from experienced businessmen in the continent. And also it talks about data collection and research, because this is critical element in the policy making process, and whatever data we gather has to reflect the needs of young people on the ground. then what's expected from young people to maximize the benefits of the AfCFTA for their own sake? The first important thing is to be innovative. That means developing innovative products and services catering to African market. First and foremost, young people should be in a position to understand what's needed in the African market, and then think about innovative solutions and innovative products and services, and then bring them into the market. The AfCFTA just provides the framework that allows the traders to sell their products or provide their services seamlessly. So it is up to the young people now to find a solution to some of the pressing challenges in the continent and make money out of it. That's the whole idea of innovative products, because you make money and also you contribute to the socio-economic development of the continent. Also, leveraging technology and e-commerce platforms to expand their markets is also important. The AfCFTA has a specific protocol on digital trade. That's one thing, but we are living in the era of technology that the participation of youth in trade so much depends on how they are ready to leverage new and emerging technologies. So the AfCFTA is the best platform to acquire technological know-how and apply them to your business. Just look at the power of social media and how it can dramatically change your status within the African market. Also, you need to participate in the youth-led trade missions and business forums. The fact that you decided to be here and attend this module shows that you are committed to understand how the AfCFTA works and to benefit from it. So you have to keep on participating on this kind of events and different forums related to AfCFTA, because you need to acquire the knowledge in order to maximize on the opportunities provided by the AfCFTA. Also, young people need to be organized and advocate for policies that support youth entrepreneurship in Africa. The only way that young people can influence the policy-making process in their country or throughout the continent is that by organizing and advocating for specific youth-friendly policies. And also, as the protocol mentioned, you need to seek for mentorship and skill development opportunities. By doing this, you can for sure benefit from the AfCFTA and expand your reach to other countries throughout in 54 African countries. So then when it comes to the benefits of the AfCFTA implementation, increased intra-African trade leading to economic growth and job creation. As you know, unemployment is one of the main headaches for the African economy in general, in individual countries as well. So what we expect through the AfCFTA is that AfCFTA creates more job and more economic opportunities, and by that we can see that the unemployment problem in Africa can be mitigated through the AfCFTA. We also have a diversification of African economies. Mukaila was talking about earlier in his presentation how Africa is commodity dependent, but with the advent of the AfCFTA, we can expect that African economy will be diversified, and we can reduce our dependence on commodity exports. Also, we expect enhanced industrial development and value chain creation within Africa. I was talking about how the participation of Africa in the global value chain is minimal, and the creation of regional value chains through the AfCFTA can be an opportunity for Africa to close the gap with the rest of the world and have an industrialized economy. And also, what AfCFTA is expected to do to African economies is that it's going to increase the competitiveness of African businesses in the global market, because with the liberalization of trade, we do expect that the competition will be intense, and competition is good to make African products competitive in the global market. So now let's look at the opportunities for collaboration under the SFT. Um, the first thing is that first, and the most important thing is to understand change in operations as a result of the SFT. The first one, as I mentioned earlier, regional value chains in products and services. So you have to learn how to collaborate with your counterparts in other countries, and that so you can only do that by assessing the market and building networks, and that's why participation in business forums and knowledge of consuming knowledge products specifically designed for businesses is important, and also exploring investment opportunities, impact on and the opportunities for women and youth on businesses in different key sectors. We will look at some of the sectors that young people can significantly benefit from, and also you need to understand, of course, the FCFT aims to address trade barriers erected by tariff and non-tariff trade barriers. So you need to have like basic understanding of how trade can be slowed down. That means what are the barriers to trade. So understanding this challenge can help you in your policy advocacy work. Small and medium scale enterprises are critical for any country globally, especially in Africa. We need to focus on small businesses if we want to see the African economy transformed and Africa becomes a key player in the global stage. Markets and supply chain linkage are important for small businesses. Invest in entrepreneurship and innovation, scale up what works. Basically, you businesses are on the ground and you understand what are the opportunities for entrepreneurship and innovation. So you have to scale up and you have to evolve on that. And also you need to keep on educating yourself, having training and skill development programs within your firm, and technical training in sectors like likely to gain from the FCFTA. That's why Mokaila's presentation earlier on the economic benefits of the FCFTA and the sectors that are going to benefit significantly from the implementation of the safety agreement is quite important for you. It seems technical, but for you to understand the market, you need to learn how to consume such information and apply that in your day-to-day work. In mind, so what are like the opportunities for young people under the FCFT? Under the trading services agreement protocol, we have we expect that financial services in the continent to be liberalized. So the liberalization of financial services will facilitate financial support in line of credit to youth-led businesses. So almost all of you are engaged in the business activities, so you know how it's challenging to secure loans and seed money to start your businesses. So the liberalization of financial services under the FCFTA is expected to significantly benefit African entrepreneurs, and also design insurance schemes for youth-led SMEs, include youth-led SMEs in policymaking, and use inclusion in the fintech, because Africa is a leader in financial technologies, and the liberalization of financial services will only contribute significantly in a positive manner to this fintech revolution in the continent. Just think about M-Pesa in Kenya and how it's game changer. Facilitate use access to investment networks, because financial industry is a well-developed sector globally, and in Africa as well we have very good banks, and if these banks expand into other countries which they don't have operations, I think the entrepreneurs in these countries are expected to benefit. Of course, in Africa, we have a big problem, which is trade facilitation. And we have a trade facilitation element within the FCFTA, and it's expected to ease market entry for youth-led small-scale enterprises, and the capacity building on trade compliance, rules of origin standards, and so on is quite important, because sometimes I think the businesses understand rules of origin much better than we supposedly to be experts on these issues, but you understand rules of origin because it's very practical matter. and having a deep understanding of how the rules of origin under the AfCFTA, the standardization mechanism, and how the mutual recognition and so on works within the agreement is quite important. And also you need to learn how to conduct trade in a paperless manner, because the world is moving in that direction, and trade facilitation gonna be very easy and something that you can easily do from there, from your screen. Okay. Okay, what are the key areas for youth empowerment under the AfCFTA? Let's look at some of the sectors. Agribusiness, because globally, if you are following the news, food security is a big issue, and Africa has the potential not just to feed itself, but the rest of the world. So agribusinesses are the areas that you can explore and build a competitive business. And also one area is that use SMEs access to to the special economic zones is also important. Before the AfCFTA, the thinking was that special economic zones are only for foreign investors, but now governments are rethinking their special economic zones policies, and small and medium scale enterprises in some of the countries are now entering special economic zones to benefit in addition in a conducive manner, because special economic zones they have all their the necessary access for whatever it is, government services like tax, finance, and so on, in one place. And trade, you can also do the trade facilitation, customs related work at the special economic zone. So you have to focus on how you can enter into special economic zones in your respective countries and benefit from such policy measures if there is any. Also, there is also ease in trade, dissemination and implementation of climate smart and climate resilient technologies, because climate change is now the biggest issue, policy issue at the global stage. So you have to think about how to come up with sustainable solutions to the climate crisis. Also, it's important to prioritize ensuring farmers against climate-related catastrophic risks and support regional value chain development. As you can see in my presentation, this regional value chain development comes again and again. So you have to understand what are the policy instruments at the continental level to develop regional value chain, and how you can contribute and participate in the development process. Of course, capacity building is also another topic theme that's coming up again and again. So, of course, so far I talked about the opportunities presented by the AfCFTA, and now let's talk about the challenge. The first and obvious challenge young people are facing and preventing them from benefiting from opportunities like the AfCFTA is that lack of quality education and employment. And as I said earlier, of course, AfCFTA has a potential to provide job opportunities, but young people should be in a position to benefit from those opportunities, and to that, quality education has to be in place. Of course, the peace and security challenge, conflict and instability in the continent is a challenge. Imagine starting a promising business in your country, and all of a sudden, when you wake up one morning, if you find your country embroiled in the conflict and instability, that's a challenge. And also gender equality is an issue, and that's why we have women and youth in trade protocol, and we need to address a gender issue in our continent, because women have equal, if not more, capability to contribute to the development of value chain or the boosting of intra-African trade. Health-related challenge still, when you look at the global health reports, African youth face significant amount of huge challenge when it comes to maintaining their health. There are different public health challenges in the continent that need to be addressed, and as I said, climate change is also an issue. These are just some of the challenges, but at every level we have diverse challenges preventing African youth from benefiting from the AfCFTA. So let's look at what are the main challenges for the implementation of the AfCFTA. Lack of harmonized trade policies and regulations across the state parties, and of course, the main purpose of the AfCFTA agreement is that it can contribute for the harmonization of policies. But the fact that we have different configurations in the continent means that it's going to take time until we have a harmonized way of doing business in the continent. We have inadequate infrastructure, including transportation and communication networks. We have continental level programs like PIDA and others that focus on building infrastructure and expanding infrastructure to the continent. But we are not there yet in terms of building our transportation and communication networks. And also we have limited access to trade finance. As I said, the liberalization of financial services under the AfCFTA Trading Services Protocol gonna contribute positively to the in enhancing access to finance for small and medium enterprises. And we also have institutional capacity constraints. Our governments, our other institutions are now up to the level to help young people to maximize from the trade agreement. So we have to consider building the capacity of African institutions as part of the AfCFTA implementation. And later on with Mahalit's presentation, you will look at some of the institutional frameworks like the AfCFTA implementation strategy and so on, how it tries to build the institutional capacity of member states. So what are the actions that need to be taken in order to enhance the implementation of the AfCFTA? The first and the most important thing is to close the gap in access to finance, and also build the export and trading capacity of small and medium-scale enterprises, youth-led businesses in the AfCFTA, and support youth and SME participation in regional value chains and corporate supply chains and public procurement, because they have to be encouraged so that they can have access to market. And also we need to streamline border procedures to incentivize formalization and implement international standards. So sometimes the border procedures and the challenge of exporting somehow discourage small businesses. So the customs procedures need to be streamlined, and it has to be paperless and in a way that makes young people and young entrepreneurs confident that their product can reach the target market. And also we need to close the digital divide, the gap in digital divide, because of course Africa has a huge potential to leapfrog in terms of technology, but we need to make sure that everyone has access to digital technologies, and the digital divide issue needs to be addressed so that Africa can be part of the fourth industrial revolution. Also, we need to plan innovative AfCFTA sensitization among stakeholders, as we are doing today, so that all the key stakeholders understand what the agreement means and its ramifications in the continent. So that's all of what I have for this session. Later on, we will have more opportunities to discuss during the Q&A after my colleague's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. From your presentation, it's clear that we need the youth because of their huge population in Africa, and we will be able to say the implementation of the AfCFTA is a success only when we include the youth. So we really need the youth to step up and be innovative and come up with businesses that will try and solve the problems that are encountered in our continent. Thank you so much for that insightful information. Now I'd like to give to the third presenter and the last one, which is Mahalet. Mahalet, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I see that the host is asking that I start my video. I think my video is on. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are. here in Addis. It is the evening. Thank you for Mukela and Nahom for their excellent presentation. My presentation is entitled Transforming the AfCFTA Promises into Action, the Role of the Youth. So I will focus on the implementation. Okay. We will see how the role of youth in the implementation of AfCFTA strategies, their role in the National Committee, in the AfCFTA Implementation National Committee. I will present the Guided Trade Initiative, on which several SMEs that are owned by youth participated in. So the economic impact of the AfCFTA has already been presented by Mukela, but here I just want to highlight, as mentioned previously by Nahom, Africa has 60% of young people. With this African economy needs to grow at a rate that is adequate for to create jobs for at least between 10 and 12 million youth who enter the workforce everywhere. And in this context, entrepreneurship is very crucial. The AfCFTA promises to have a positive impact on this. The challenge now is to ensure that AfCFTA is implemented in a way that is inclusive for youth and women. So it's important to note that the expected benefits or impact that were presented previously of the AfCFTA will only be realized with a successful and inclusive implementation of the AfCFTA. This doesn't mean it will happen in one night. It's a gradual process. The implementation responsibility lies in each state party, which must actively commit to this through a strong political will, but also with an adequate technical and financial capacity. So in this effort to implement the AfCFTA, countries has been developing a national AfCFTA implementation strategy to facilitate, of course, the implementation of the strategy of the AfCFTA or the domestication of the AfCFTA. The strategies are or provide a framework through which state parties facilitate AfCFTA implementation, assess adequacy of institutional and legal infrastructure, identify the challenges and the gaps, and determine reforms that are needed. They also identify the opportunity, the market opportunities, the priority industries, the key sectors, and also the opportunities for regional value chain. They also identify specific interventions. The strategies outline interventions that the countries should take to implement the AfCFTA. And it also creates a roadmap that focuses on areas where state parties hold a comparative advantage, ensuring targeted and effective implementation of the AfCFTA. So the development of the strategies are integrative and participative of all stakeholders, including the youth. Why are the strategies developed in consultations with the youth? So first of all, this is important to ensure youth involvement to so that their voice is heard. And also the strategies encompass at least one strategic objective that addresses the user's challenge. It also helps to foster ownership and commitment to the strategy, but also to the implementation of the AfCFTA. As also mentioned by Nahom, it leads to innovative solution that reflects the needs and aspiration of the young people. So the government should really play an important role in implementing supportive policies and investment to ensure youth participation. So as of today, we have 39 countries that has developed their AfCFTA implementation strategy, from which 35 was supported by the UN ECA. And then we have also four, sorry. Oui. Yes, 6 regs that has also developed the regional AfCFTA implementation strategy, with 3 being supported by the UN ECA. So as I said before, the responsibility to implement the AfCFTA lies at each state parties. So at the continental level, we have the AfCFTA Secretariat that plays a crucial role in coordinating, facilitating, and supporting the implementation of the AfCFTA. And then we have the regs at the regional level, and at the national level, we have the national AfCFTA, the national AfCFTA committees that are essential in domesticating the AfCFTA. So the establishment of a national committee on AfCFTA is to ensure or needs to ensure meaningful participation of all stakeholders, including the youth. The creation or the establishment of an AfCFTA National Committee was a decision of the 31st Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the African Union, held in July 2018 in Mauritania. So what is the role of this AfCFTA implementation committees, at least the expected roles of the AfCFTA National Committee? So first of all, the AfCFTA National Committee should support the trade negotiation of the country. It should also facilitate AfCFTA implementation and needed policy reform, develop plans and strategy of AfCFTA implementation, reporting on activities, capacity building and sensitization, raise awareness and collaboration with stakeholders, private sector engagement, including the youth again, ensure inclusive implementation of the AfCFTA, being an interface between the country and the AfCFTA secretariats, and monitor and evaluate the implementation of the AfCFTA at the national level. So this is to show you how an AfCFTA committee should look like. The most important point here is that at the level of the secretariat and the technical working group, it is very, very crucial that all relevant stakeholders are represented, so including the private sector. Just to highlight that it's important to know this is the national mechanism or the platform that is here to implement the AfCFTA strategies, and this is where also youth should share their voice and the private sector should also discuss with in the implementing of the AfCFTA. So why is it important, again, that youth participates in the AfCFTA National Committee? So okay, so youth representative in the AfCFTA National Committee is important. We need to have programs to enhance youth skills in areas such as trade policy, entrepreneurship, regular consultation with youth groups for input on policies are crucial. Social media webinars and online forums for youth engagement need to be put in place. Dedicated funds and grants for young entrepreneurs and startups need also to be put in place campaigns on the AfCFTA in schools, universities, and communities are important. Youth ambassador to promote AfCFTA at the grassroots level is very crucial. So what is the Guided Trade Initiative? Of course, as part of the implementation, we have mentioned the AfCFTA National Committee, but the Guided Trade Initiative also shows the effort of state parties in implementing the AfCFTA. So the Guided Trade Initiative was put in place to test the readiness of countries and private sector to trade under the AfCFTA. It was officially launched on October 2022 with 7 countries, but also Tunisia, so I would say with 8 pilot countries. The first phase was the exchanges were relatively limited coverage of products. We also only focused on trading goods, but now a second phase will be launched with more products, and it will also include the trade in services. So the key the ECA has done a study on the first phase of the AfCFTA strategy on the Guided Trade Initiative to see what were the key challenges faced by companies that traded under the GTI. And these challenges are very important because it helps us to see where we need to intervene more so that the second phase and in general the exchanges under the AfCFTA are successful. So the first challenge is the limited understanding of import-export procedure and regulations by the private sector, but also by the government, especially the customs and other government parties. There was a delay in acquiring AfCFTA certificate of origin. There was an issue, of course, of transport, logistic, and connectivity. The issue of high compliance costs for standard registration, certification, licensing, high entry and market cost in importing countries, particularly challenging for SMEs and use on SMEs. And finally, challenges in securing funds for clearing import consignment. To conclude, if the AfCFTA is implemented effectively, it will contribute to the youth development significantly. It will help it will open more market opportunities, increase trade, creation of a better employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. It will facilitate youth integration, more integration it will there will be less inequality and migration to open new markets and simplify trade for informal trade, particularly for women and youth. I see youth was deleted here. So for these benefits to be realized, youth must be provided with essential resources. Their active participation is key, and it is very important to have a functional national AfCFTA institutional mechanism to coordinate and implement the AfCFTA, and that includes the youth participation in trading under the AfCFTA. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Margaret. We really see the opportunities that are presented by the AfCFTA, especially the employment part and the increased trade part. We really hope it's now to the youth to take advantage of this AfCFTA and make a change in the continent. Thank you so much. I would now be open to questions.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Basically, I'm Ansumana Bandidole from Sierra Leone, a far-off country and a very small one. So, I just want to know, sir, are we going to get the models, the handouts, the teachings, the models? Because we have been taught today, and I basically we need the models because we are unable to take the notes. And how is the implementation going to be like? Because in country here we call Sierra Leone, the ministers and the people, they don't talk to the youth. In fact, they call the youth the lazy youth. Our country here, but more like the handle so that we can get more of us to read and to know more what we have learned today. That's just what I have to say. And if there is any more, I will ask.
Okay, thank you so much, Bandi.
But so you want me to go back?
Pardon?
So you want me to start?
No, I was saying thank you so much for the question. I'll now hand it over to Nahum to answer the question.
Thank you for your question, Vandi. Of course, when it comes to the reference materials, the best starting point could be the Q&A that ECA helped to prepare. It's available online. It contains all the frequently asked questions and their answers. So you can easily refer them, and probably we can definitely share the link to YALDA, and YALDA can share the link to the participants. We can also share the PowerPoint, and also we also have at ECA various knowledge products, and you can just go to the ECA website and you can find all the relevant materials that can give you a detailed understanding of the AfCFTA and the opportunities it holds for the young people in the continent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hale, can you please unmute and say your question?
Yes, thank you so much. And my question is with regard to getting, certificate of origin of AfCFTA. Should we first apply to Ministry of Trade of our respective country, or anywhere else to begin with? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. I'll also take Martha's question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, I'm Martha from Kenya. My question goes to Nahum. You mentioned that it's important to ease youth SMEs into the special economic zones. So I'm wondering, would you agree then that special economic zones are an important tool in the implementation of the AfCFTA? Thank you. Thank you. Mahlet, please answer Haley's question before
Yes.
we continue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the question is regarding the certificate of origin. Um, uh, you typically need to contact the designated authority. It can be either in your country, it can be either the Chamber of Commerce, in some cases it's the Ministry of Trade, or the customs. So you'll need to contact the authority, but also you can ask if there is already an AfCFTA national committee in your country. You can also ask the national committee to tell you who is the designated authority to deliver the certificate of origin. Thank you.
Basically, let me just say this one for the last time, and I'll be leaving. I don't want to bother that much. Yeah. So how are we going to get our certificate? That is one, and it's very much important, the certificate. Yeah. So another thing here again is the modus. Is there any way that you can send us the modus on our emails so that we can access them that much than we going online to go?
Hello. Okay, I guess we have lost him. I'll now give to Nahum to answer the question that was posed by Martha.
Thank you, Martha, for your question. Of course, special economic zones are critical for the implementation of the AfCFTA, but there are technical details associated with how special economic zones are treated within the AfCFTA. Because the main purpose of the AfCFTA is to create a level playing field for all businesses. And as you know, those businesses within the special economic zones or operating within the special economic zones, they receive special kind of benefits. So there must be some sort of details available within the agreement, and but I have talked about special economic zones in the context of AfCFTA from the perspective of developing regional value chain. And to that end, I strongly believe that young people and their businesses need to be eased to special economic zones. To get more details on how special economic zones can best fit within the AfCFTA and what small businesses can do to maximize on this opportunity, I would strongly recommend you to read the UNCTAD report on special economic zones because they have a detailed analysis on how special economic zones fit within the AfCFTA and what small businesses need to do in order to benefit from such kind of opportunities. Thank you.
Maybe, Percy, maybe just to add on what Naum just mentioned, to say that for special economic zone, the objective is to foster, if I can say, the industrial development of countries. And when we look at the AfCFTA, the objectives go beyond trade, and you can see that at the end, the objective is also to foster or to improve the structural transformation. So special economic zone, which aim at at improving industrial park and so on. We also contribute to that. Just to add on.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, my name is Rafael Kennedy from Tanzania. I'm very happy and very interested to hear about these topics because it's a of this project that I did right now. And what is my question? Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Now, please, can you let me know why? Yes, our country has been ratified to be a member of AfCFTA in 2021, Tanzania. So why this program or agreement are not yet implemented to many countries? As you see in Tanzania, in Kenya, in Rwanda, almost of the East African countries have already ratified to be a member after. My question is why many countries are not implementing much about it after, because as we know, there is a lot of opportunities and benefits of to be a member of after. These are my first questions. And my second question is, in which way after will go to secure the borders? Because if we allow everyone to pass in the borders, some people are not good, people are bad. So, okay, fine. Okay. I think you can smell, yes. So what I asked you is on how AfCFTA is prepared to make sure the members of the countries are very secured, especially on the borders, because we don't need a barrier concern about the border. So we want to make a single market in our African countries. Do they after prepare to make sure the borders of each country's members are safe and to allow people to enter in the countries without the system? Because as we know, they come with passports which will allow member to pass through without any barriers. So can you please let me know how after it's prepared to give us a security to our country?
Mukaula, the floor is yours.
So thank you. I think I'm not sure that I capture all the questions, but maybe let me start with the first one, which is on why AfCFTA are not countries are not implemented the AfCFTA yet. And I think in my presentation I explained that after the ratification of the agreement, there are some critical technical issue, if I can say. And we have also the global shock with the COVID-19, which also delayed the implementation process. But the technical issue was on the negotiation on rule of origin on specific product, because as we said, for countries to be able to get advantages, we need to be sure that the product is an African product. And so negotiation on the different aspect of rule of origin are still ongoing, and currently we are almost 93% of the rule of origin negotiation. So this is why the implementation delay, but at least as Mahlet shown in her presentation, there were what is called a guided trade initiative, where countries that are ready started, trading under the AfCFTA, and those are the pilot countries to see the readiness of private sector to implement the agreement. So there are many aspects that can explain, the low, if we can say the low level of implementation, but things are moving, and we may expect that the number of countries in the guided trade initiative will expand, as Mahmoud said. But I don't know if I captured the other question. I don't know if you...
Maybe to complement just on the
Yeah.
first question, just to say that if a country has ratified, legally they are required to implement the AfCFTA. But as I said in my presentation, the responsibility of implementing the AfCFTA lies, each state party are responsible to implement the AfCFTA. And for this, they need the adequate financial and, of course, human capacity. Hence, just to say, if a country has not implemented, we also have, to support this technical, and we have to support them technically and financially, but the responsibility lies on the countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you have been answered. Now I'll give to Francis to ask the question. Francis?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm Megida Francis from Nigeria. And from the presentation of the last person, I see that Nigeria has not been registered with AfCFTA. So this, I don't know how I'm going to getting the membership certificates and to also benefit from the policies of AfCFTA. So how is it going to be possible? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahlet. I hope you have noted that. I'll also take the question from Gabriel before Mahlet answers. Gabriel. Hi.
Oh, are you hearing me? Are you guys hearing me?
Yes. I can hear you.
Thank you. Well, let me start by thanking all of the presenters for today's lecture series. Okay, my question is there any plan for decentralization of the AfCFTA? And if it is, how can it transgress to another country? And then if it is in that country, how can one get involved in this process of division?
Pardon, I did not hear you clearly. Can you please speak louder?
Okay, I'm saying that is there any plan of decentralization regarding the AfCFTA, and how can a vision, on the continent scope, in Liberia, if I want to see the AfCFTA in Liberia, how can that happen? What are the criteria in the process involved? That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Mukala, I hope you have noted the question. I'll now give the floor to Amnauli. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah. Yes, you can hear me, yeah, first.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much for giving me this chance. My question is that, thank you, Nahi, Takara, and Mahi for your presentation. Because it's need like this, Africa needs like this economists in Africa. And my question is that why propose the same money? Because Africa's trading, Africa free continental trade area, it must be implemented in Africa. Because there is a shortage of resource. One resource will share with another resource. So that's a good thing. And my question is that why we implement, what the consequence to implement one money for Africa to implement trade and in a free continental trade area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll now give to the speakers to answer the questions.
Yes, Percy. Unfortunately, for the first question, where he was asking why Nigeria is not registered, it's not very clear for me. Maybe if he can repeat, or if you repeat it for me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, my question is that from your presentation, Nigeria has not registered with AfCFTA. So how can, as a Nigerian, get the certificate of membership of AfCFTA? That's one. Number two, how can, as a Nigerian, benefit from the policies of AfCFTA? These are the two questions I asked. Thank you.
Thank you. So Nigeria did sign and ratify the AfCFTA. So to get the certificate of origin, then you'll need to identify, as I said previously, the issuing authority, maybe through the AfCFTA National Committee. I believe Nigeria has already one. So I hope this will answer your question. Thank you.
Just to add one point on
Yes.
what Mahalit has just said. Now within the AfCFTA framework, what we have is not an organic trade. That means the trade that involves all African countries at the same time. What we have is the guided trade initiative, as Mahalit mentioned in her presentation earlier. To my knowledge, Nigeria hasn't yet become part of the guided trade initiative yet. So at the moment, the issuing of certificate of origin and the small trade is happening to those countries which are part of the guided trade initiative. This the initiative is now attracting more countries into it, and if eventually Nigeria decides to join the guided trade initiative, it can start issuing certificate of origin so that exports can be made out of Nigeria and so on. But I think that's one issue that we can add into what Mahalit has already said. But once the organic trade under the AfCFTA starts, the customs authorities and the designated bodies within the Nigerian government will have the authority to issue the certificate of origin to traders. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let me come for the question of Gabriel, who is asking if there is any decentralization of the AfCFTA. What I can say is that the simple fact that we have the protocol on women and youth in trade is something that is very important, because it shows the political will to integrate youth in the aspect of this trade agreement, which shows that is very important. There is a way to decentralize it, but the more decentralization may come from each country, because each countries have prepared what is called the national strategy of implementation, and the priority action in this strategy normally country have identified how to integrate or how to take into consideration youth in the implementation process, in terms of associating them in all the committees that they are creating in order to implement. So this is the way to decentralize, if I can say, the AfCFTA. But now to link that to the European Union, I think the integration process, and when we look at the integration process within the European Union, they are more advanced integration than Africa. But I think the process is ongoing, and the AfCFTA is also ongoing. I know that the Secretariat started some webinars to really sensitize youth for in this process. So this is what I can say for Alimu question, if I may touch on this before my colleagues come. To work. I don't know if I captured the question well. So to answer that question, I can say one of the key instruments for the implementation of the AfCFTA is the Pan-African Payment System Settlement, which is an initiative of the African Export-Import Bank to allow African exporters or importers to make transaction in their own currency. So concretely, how it works is that when you are in Kenya, for example, and you export your good to maybe Tanzania, you will be able to get your money in your own currency. So this is a system that Afreximbank put in place, which work between central banks. So I think for the issue of currencies, there is a solution, as I said. Maybe my colleagues will touch on this a bit.
Yeah,
I don't know if I capture all the questions. If not, please can come in again.
Thank you, Mukila. My question is that regarding to the same local currency, because we have different currency in Africa continent. You are right, but I have a question regarding the next step to local Africa common currency in Africa for SFTA.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for your question. Just to complement what my colleague Mukaila have just said about common currency. Of course, we have different currencies in the African continent. So this can definitely be a challenge to conduct trade. So we have the temporary solution that Mukaila mentioned, the Afreximbank's the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System that allows traders in Africa to conduct trade using their local currency, and the central banks jump into the market and facilitate the transaction, because there is this mechanism, but it is temporary. But in the long run, of course, Africa can work towards having a common currency. But as you know, having common currency is not easy. In economics, they call it optimal currency, and we have seen how it is challenging to advanced economies, even to within the European Union, the Eurozone crisis, and how the ramifications of that crisis negatively affected the economies of those countries. So the move towards common African currency should be slow and has to take into account economic realities, not just the political commitment. Of course, there are initiatives at the continental level to create Pan-African financial institutions, to have African equivalent of the IMF, African equivalent of the World Bank, and so on. So working on this kind of initiatives at the continental level definitely will pave the way for the establishment of the issuance of common currency eventually. But it has to happen in gradual manner. Thank you. Hope I answered your question this time. Thank you.
Just a quick one, and to say on the common currency is that this is a process of regional integration, and there are different steps, almost you can say 5 different steps to achieve the whole integration. But what we have now, a free trade area, I can say the first step. So moving forward, after the AfCFTA or the free trade area, we'll be having like the custom union. After the custom union, we will have the common market, which is also one of the goals in the continental integration process. And then it's after the common market that we will now talk about having the common currency. So the process is long, and the road also is long to achieve this.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll now give to Michael, Naftali, and Victor in that order to ask the questions. Michael.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello, good evening, everyone. Michael from Nigeria.
Good evening.
An insightful session. I was going to say, if I'm not mistaken, the AfCFTA still needs some level of awareness. And I know there was a campaign started last year by YALDA, the I Buy Made in Africa campaign, but we didn't really get updates of how that proceeded or if that is still on. So I want to know if YALDA is still doing anything regarding that campaign and been taking any steps. Like I know there was a t-shirt competition involved, which was supposed to boost the awareness of the AfCFTA, but I don't really know what happened regarding that. So I'm asking YALDA if anything is still being done regarding that campaign.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Naftali.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Naftali. Just want to go back to my presentation. My question goes to Martha on guidance trade initiative. She said it's only 7 countries that have started out of almost 54 countries in Africa. Why is it so, and how can other countries also be involved into that guide trade? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay. My name is Victor. I'm from Cameroon, and I'm a business development strategist. And my question is 2 questions actually. Number 1 is I think it's related to what Naftali just asked: the slow nature of the implementation. We see out of 54 nations, just 1 has made that much progress. You know, and then with Ghana championing a lot of the things that are, you know, pushing and happening. How can young people be mobilized to maybe give their governments a push? How can young people be involved to give their governments a push? We've seen Malawi, we've seen Tanzania, we've seen some other countries. They are still yet to even, you know, get into the accord, you know, get into the agreement, you know, push in a request for funding for them to, you know, ratify and, you know, get all of that. How can young people be involved in getting their countries to go ahead and make progress? That's my first question. My second question is from the standpoint of a strategist, a business strategist. And there's something in business or in strategy we call gatekeepers. I believe all of us know that. Gatekeepers are those middlemen, people who can control the flow of the market. They can control demand and supply. They can control a lot of things. They have a lot of power. So my question is, with the monumental potential of this trade mechanism, with issues such as investor and business accreditation, with issues such as access to the value chain system, I don't know what kind of system is going to be put in place, with issues such as payment system, payment gateways, and transaction remittances. We understand Africa is spending approximately $1 billion to $5 billion annually just for remittances within Africa and without Africa. So is this framework going to be totally free, number 1? Number 2, is it going to be purely African? Because if it is not purely African, then we'll have a lot of gatekeepers taking care of the business that we do across our nations. And when I look at the implementation, I see a lot of foreign partners, European Union, you know, a lot of councils out of Africa. They are the ones championing this, because if this mechanism, as powerful as it is held by foreign powers, they can adequately destabilize and handle. They can paralyze Africa economically, and in fact will go more beyond colonization. So I'm really scared for this from a long-term perspective. So can that be looked into? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to first respond to Michael. Well, the IBOOT camp took place in February 2024 at Pretoria in South Africa, but the T-shirt competition is still on, if I got your question right. I'll now give to my speakers to respond to Natalie and Victor's question. Nahum?
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me? So my connection was a bit breaking when Victor was speaking. And also I didn't hear your last intervention. Can you just repeat that? Sorry.
Well, I was just responding to Michael's question about the T-shirt competition, that the competition is still on. And then I was asking that any of the speakers respond to Natalie and Victor's question.
So maybe I'll just come
If
in for
you
the
need me to
first
take back my
question.
question, I can take it again.
Yeah, just Mahalit, like you can go ahead and start
Okay.
answering the
So
questions, and I
I'll
will come
just
back.
respond to the question related to the GTI, so the Guided Trade Initiative, why only 7 countries participated in the first phase. I said 7+1, so 8 countries has participated in the first phase of this initiative. These countries were a pilot country, and also there were some requirements to be able to participate to the Guided Trade Initiative. The first one is to be a state party, so to have ratified the agreement, have your provisional schedule of tariff concession technically verified and approved by the Council of Ministers, established a national AfCFTA committee, a permanent or an ad hoc one, also to designate a customs authority, and also notify the non-tariff measures required for exports, imports. So those 8 countries were eligible based on those requirements. And then I have to say also the second phase will be launched in October now 2024, and there are 35 countries that are interested to participate in this second phase of the Guided Trade Initiative. So those countries will need also to fulfill these requirements to be able to participate in the GTI. Again, what I want to highlight is it's important for countries to implement, or at least implement some of, to be able to trade under the AfCFTA, to be also able to participate in this type of initiative. Yeah, I think this answers your question. Over to
Yeah.
you, Nahum.
Yeah, thank you, Mahalit. Just to complement what Mahalit has just said, the AfCFTA is a big continental initiative, and we shouldn't also forget that it's an effort that tries to bring together a diverse group of countries at different level of economic development, at different level of integration with the rest of the continent and with the rest of the world. So as you try to implement a big trade agreement like the AfCFTA, it's expected that we notice different level of engagement from member states, but ultimately one of the benefits of the AfCFTA is that it creates opportunities for peer learning. Actually, at the UNECA, we organized a peer learning workshop on the national implementation strategies in January, and we brought together all countries that have developed their national implementation strategies and regional economic communities that also developed their implementation strategies and different partners into one room, and we created a platform for peer learning because for instance, countries which are not well integrated can benefit from countries which are ahead of the curve when it comes to economic integration initiatives. And also when it comes to the Africa's relations with the rest of the world and with major powers, as Victor said, actually the AfCFTA was a response to the Balkanization of African continent, in a sense that by bringing together 54 or 55 countries, the entire African continent together, it creates a platform for Africa to speak with one voice, rather than a single African country going to world capitals, Brussels, Washington, or elsewhere, and negotiate by themselves. The AfCFTA paves the way for the unified African voice in the global stage. And we shouldn't also forget that the AfCFTA is part of the Agenda 2063, and one of the ultimate objective of the Agenda 2063 is that to help Africa speak with one voice on the global stage and well represented at different multilateral and international fora. So that means the AfCFTA, by implementing the AfCFTA and by bringing our economies together, we are building a strong Africa, and that strong Africa can speak with one voice when we get closer economically. Thank you.
Okay, Nahum, should I repeat my question? I remember you said you didn't get it clearly.
Yeah, just if you feel that we haven't addressed your question fully, you can come back and ask
Maybe
the
let me
questions.
come for the let me come for one of the questions that Victor asked. So let me come for one of the questions Victor asked about the issues of investment, the issue of payment, and so on. To say that those issues have been identified by the AU. This is why we have now the protocol on investment. Is to try to to handle the aspect of the investment side, even the competition that will be within the continent. So those protocols are there to help implementation of the trade in goods protocol. Now, for the question on how to make sure that foreign firm will not take advantage of the AfCFTA, this is also related to why the key instrument of implementation is rule of origin. And this is where the question is, if we are able to have a strong rule of origin, we will be sure that the product is not coming from outside the continent. This is why the two criteria are very important. Whether it's wholly obtained, then we know it's from Africa. We will, foreign companies will not really take advantage of this. Now, the second criteria, which is the substantial transformation, is also one of the aspects to deal with this issue of foreign enterprises, because it's possible that some countries will just import a product from outside and then repackaging it. So this will not apply because of these two criteria. So at least if we are able to manage for the rule of origin, then we will be able to make sure that foreign firm will not take advantages. Just want to say that.
Oh, he got
Thank you
caught
very
there.
much. Victor, I hope you were answered.
I would say just a little. What I was asking was about the ownership, not about the participating entrepreneurs, participating companies or firms in the initiative, in the agreement. I was asking about the ownership of the agreement. That's why I use the term gatekeepers, because if it's foreign powers that come and they put the initiative in place, they could operate as gatekeepers. They could operate with a higher leverage on controlling, especially the flow of transaction. If I buy in Cameroon and I'm paying an entrepreneur or a company in South Africa, the remittances for that payment is what the gatekeeper will keep. And take an example of Amazon, Alibaba. They don't have anything that they sell. They just connect buyers and sellers, and they earn far more than those buyers and sellers. So the flow of trade, the flow of influence can be triggered, by those gatekeepers. That is where my fear is. But I thank him so much for, highlighting the rule of origin, which I'm going to study a little bit more. I've done some little study on AfCFTA, and I'm quite happy participating here, and I'm going to study that more. So if that could be addressed, thank you.
Just to say one thing here, Percy, in response to Victor's question. I think the owners of this, if they are African countries, member states of the African Union. So this is an agreement which was negotiated by African countries and their delegates, and adopted by different AU decision-making bodies, including the African Ministers of Trade. That means the Executive Council, the Foreign Ministers grouping, and head of states, the leaders of the continent at the level of head of states and government. So we can't say that the gatekeepers of the AfCFTA are foreign powers. Rather, it is an African project designed and now being tried to be implemented by Africans. But of course, as we try to implement the AfCFTA, it doesn't mean that it won't face a challenge from of course, opportunities and challenge, not only challenge, but opportunity and challenge from the rest of the world, because Africa is not an island, and it interacts with the rest of the world. So AfCFTA gonna change the dynamics of Africa's engagement with the rest of the world. So the AfCFTA is an African project, and the gatekeepers are the member states of the African Union. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for those eye-opening questions and insightful inputs. I'll now give to the speakers to give the closing remarks. I'll start with Mukaula, then followed by Marlet and Nahu.
Thank you, Percy, for moderating this session. I can say it's been a very interesting session. And we hope that the message that we are trying to pass about the youth involvement in the implementation process of the AfCFTA is well captured. And I would just thank all the participants for the great engagement. And see you soon, I can say.
Thank you so much. Marlet. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So just as a last word, first of all, I want to thank all the participants for all their questions and for making this course very interactive. And just as a final word, let me say that the successful implementation of the AfCFTA can contribute to youth development by creating and integrating young people into the economy. Again, I want to emphasize that the implementation responsibility is at the level of state parties. They need to be able also to finance the implementation, not always to expect from donors outside Africa. So it's very important to own the implementation. And I think this was also the questions that was asked previously. So I think it's very important that African governments are able to finance the implementation of the AfCFTA as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll now give to Nahum.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to thank YALDA for its incredible and very effective partnership with UNEC and other African-based institutions to help raise awareness about the AfCFTA and its benefits to the young people in the continent. And I also want to thank the participants for your active participation and very insightful perspectives and thought-provoking questions that will definitely help improve this module for the next time. And also, finally, I want to thank my colleagues for their great work as we prepare together to put together this course. And I'm very hopeful that the information you got today will be helpful in your day-to-day activities as you try to be an effective and influential entrepreneurs in the continent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nahum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this session. I'd like to thank you all for attending today's module, and your participation is highly appreciated. Do have a great evening.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.